students. Today's learning objective is organizational structures. So far we have been discussing in the preceding classes about organizing as a managerial function. In addition to that, we also have seen the definitions of organization. So a brief recapture of what we were discussing in the last class is to discuss about the definition of organization. So you must be remembering organization in the simplest terms is about formalized groups of people who have a common objective. In addition to that, if you want me to define it in a little greater detail, I can tell you it is the process of identification and grouping of objectives and delegation of authorities and responsibilities to the employees of the organization, and ultimately establishing the relationship amongst them so that they work efficiently and try to achieve the ultimate goal of the organization. That's what is organization. When you go down the lanes, wherever you just walk down, you might be seeing there are a lot of types of organizations you come across. Starting from business organizations, starting from TCS, ITC. These are the multinational corporations, and apart from this, you must also be knowing about the organizations which are non-business in nature. For example, schools, colleges, and any other NGOs which are not for profit. So these are the different kinds of organizations you come across almost on a daily basis. But today's learning objective is about the organizational structures. The simplest definition of organizational structures could be, this is almost more or less a permanent structure in any organization which includes two basic types of parts. One is vertical and another one is horizontal in nature. I repeat, the simplest definition of organizational structure could be an arrangement which includes vertical as well as horizontal parts. The vertical part consists of different layers or different levels of management from the top to bottom. This signifies the flow of authority from the top to the bottom. And the horizontal part of the organizational structure tells about the different departments which are on the same platform. That's about the definition. But the most important part or most important characteristics of organizations which actually define the organizational structures are listed here. The first one is work specialization, departmentalization, chain of command, span of control, centralization and decentralization, and the last one is formalization in the organization. So if you look at this, these are the 6 basic elements of organizational structure. Before I actually tell you what are the different types of organizations, which includes the tall organization and the flat organization, to be very, very specific, and these are the primary types of organization. Let's briefly discuss about the different elements of organizational structure, which could also be called as the characteristics of organizational structures. Look at this. What do you think is work specialization? Work specialization is basically the degree of the different tasks in the organization which are being grouped into different jobs. In other words, work specialization tells about how all the tasks of any organizations are classified into different jobs. More the number of jobs that could be inferred as high degree of specialization. For example, let us say in this particular institution, there are different people assigned to do different works. For example, somebody comes, somebody sweeps, somebody takes care of the godown, somebody takes care of the bookshelves, somebody takes care of the students' affairs. So there are different kind of jobs being done by different set of people. For example, there is another organization B, wherein what happens is a single personnel, a single man who does many tasks together. In such a case, what happens is the specialization is not very well defined. So this particular element of organizational structures basically tells about how the tasks are being separated from each other and how different specialized personnel work in the organization. That's what is called as work specialization, and that defines the organizational structure. The next one, which is very, very important, which is called as departmentalization. Departmentalization, if I have to define departmentalization, it is horizontal differentiation of the activities or the works in any organization. You must be minding, I am trying to define departmentalization. Departmentalization is horizontal differentiation or horizontal grouping of different activities based on some kind of similarity or the homogeneity is called as departmentalization. Now a question arises, I mean, what is the basis or what are the different parameters or what are the different criteria on the basis of which the different activities on the same platform could be differentiated? That is what is called as departmentalization. Look at this. There are two ways, there are two criteria, or you can call there are two parameters on the basis of which the departmental activities or different tasks of any organization could be segregated. One is process. On the basis of process, this includes organizational functions. You must be knowing that there are 5 to 6 basic organizational functions, or you can call it organizational activities, starting from marketing, human resource management, production and operation management, research and development, and something also called as marketing, finance, human resource management, production and operation, and research and development. These are the basic organizational functions. If we try to classify all the activities into departments on the basis of organizational functions as a basis, then it is called as this is one of the basis of departmentalization. Another way to make different departments is on the basis of the technology, different products or services or different parts of the organization use. So technology could also be one of the basis through which the different activities could be grouped. Another way to classify the activities is on the basis of purposes. Purpose of the organization could be, on the basis of purpose of departmentalization could be the product. Different products are grouped for the different departments. In other words, the products are the basis to make the different departments. And other bases could be customers, the geographical areas of operation, then strategic business units, which are self-efficient profit generating centers, and all on the basis of even time we can classify the activities to form the different departments in the organization. Okay, the third one, the third element of organizational structures is chain of command. We have already seen the definition of chain of command. It is also called as sometimes scalar chain. The basic definition of scalar chain is how the authority or the order flows down from the top management to the bottom level management is called as chain of command. And this is one of the very important features of organizational structures. Then another element is span of control. Span of control, as I tried to define it in the preceding class, span of control is also called as span of management, span of authority, span of responsibility. This is basically how many numbers of subordinates who are trying to report to a manager is called as span of control. That's very important for two reasons. If the span of control is really very wider, what will happen is the manager will be overstrained, because there will be a lot of people under him to be subordinated or to be taken care of. On other side, what happens is, if the span of control is wider, what happens to those subordinates? They are not properly being guided, because the number of people being guided by the manager is too very wide. And look at the other side of it. If the span of control is too very narrow, what happens is the manager is underutilized and the subordinates are over controlled. So that's the whole reason span of control is very important to get work done in any organization. Another aspect of it is it also decides, the span of control also decides about how tall or how flat the organization is. Because if the span of control is too very narrow, what happens is, if the span of control is too very narrow, what happens is the organizational structure becomes taller and taller. If the organizational structure is tall enough, there are many layers of management, many layers of managerial personnel are required, which actually adds to the cost of the organization. And if it is too very flat, which is actually desired, though there is no hard and fast rule, I mean the organization should be taller or flatter, there are many more factors which actually attributed towards it, which we are going to look into. But we must know that span of control decides the organizational efficiency, the managerial and the subordinates efficiency and effectiveness in achieving the organizational goals. Look at this. These are some of the factors which influence the span of control. I'll just quickly read it out. Managerial capability. If the manager is really very highly capable, he can have even wider span of control. And the employees' capabilities, on the other hand, if the employees are absolutely self-motivated and they are absolutely skilled enough to do their tasks, what happens is, even if there is a wider span of control, it's fair enough for them. If there is well-defined authority and responsibility, it actually facilitates a wider span of control. And if there is a sophisticated communication and control channel in the organization, this also leads to a wider span of control. And I also must tell you, the level of management also decides the span of control. There are different layers of management that varies from top level management to the bottom level management. And the next point which I would like to discuss here in this particular class is centralization and decentralization. Quickly, I must tell you, centralization is the concentration of the authority or the power in the hands of the people in the organization. If it is more centralized, it means the decision making capacity is completely in the hands of only fewer people who are sitting on the helm of affairs or who are on the top level management. Decentralization is the next face of the flip of the coin. Decentralization tells about how the decision making power is delegated to different level. Here the concentration of power is not in the hands of only few people, but decision making power. In other words, decentralization could also be attributed or called as group decision making, wherein every single person is allowed to take decisions based on his skills and capabilities. The last one is called as formalization. How formal the organizational structure is means how the rules and regulations are completely set. If there are fixed rules and regulations in the organizational structures, that is called as a formal organizational structure. If not, it is called as informal. That's all about today's class. Thank you.